Hello, everyone. This is Kat. I know I'm early. There's a reason for that because I've been looking for an area where there is an outlet so I can charge my computer if it's going down. And so far, not so good. So anyone who just tunes in, welcome and thank you for being here. And please like this whatever the post or the video, or share it or invite people to listen to it. So because Facebook relies on engagement, so I need your help here. Like or love it, or just react to the video. Okay, so it gets to the top of the newsfeed. Thank you for being here, Dominic, Mark, Connie, Annette, Deborah, Darlene, Karen. Hi, it's morning here. What time is it? Let me see. It's 8:47 a.m. Or 4:47 p.m. Pacific, or 7:47 p.m. Eastern time. So it's early morning. I woke up. Tried to wake up really early this morning because I was, a little bit having butterflies in my stomach when I had to do this thing. The perfectionist in me is still alive and well. So please like, love. Or if you want to be angry, it's fine too. And share maybe, and invite your friends, because today we're gonna talk something that might really help, not just in your relationship, ladies and gentlemen, but also in your business, right? Or your career. Because I begin to get so many questions about how, to really grow your business and how to do what I do. Even though next year I'm thinking of doing the coach for coaches. But I'm still kind of in a process of feeling it in my gut. So I don't just jump in until I feel it, rock solid within myself that this is the path that I want to take. There was a disconnect a little bit earlier. So sometimes it's a calling that it's so clear, but sometimes, as we all do, we need to also explore if it is something that we want to do, right? So sometimes we don't know, which is fine. But one thing that I always know for sure, I'm always taking the path of ease and peace. If it's not easy, if it doesn't make me peaceful, then it's not for me, so it's as simple as that. By the way, the crew here is in the restaurant by the beach is just busy cleaning up for probably, to prepare for the lunch. So okay, so we have minutes here, and if you have a question, whatever it is, put it in the comment section there. I'm trying to locate the original link, because there are a few questions already that you asked me. Okay, ladies. So it's very humid in here. So if you have time or resources to come to Bali, please do, because it's a very beautiful island, amazing culture, amazing people, amazing food. It's one of my favorite, very handy destinations, because I love the beaches, and the beaches here are just so gorgeous. Okay, let's see. So I think I will just start maybe now, right? So what is the genius zone, and what is the Neuroses Zone. In one of the previous video classes, I talked about neuroses, right? Have you listened to it? So if you haven't, you might want to look and listen to it so you know what neuroses are. And probably 99.99% of population in the world are plagued by neuroses. So most of us, the vast majority of us are neurotic people. Neurosis is basically, a state of being in conflict of who we actually are vis-a-vis who we think we should be or we want to be. So the difference between psychosis and neurosis is, I give you the analogy. So psychosis is people who think 2 + 2 = 5. So they completely lost touch with reality. That's what psychosis is, or the common word for it is cuckoo, crazy, right? And I'm sure you're not one of those people. And neurotic, on the other hand, it's a so much milder version of psychosis, I guess. Neurosis is when you know that 2 + 2 = 4, but you are resisting it with all your being. You wish it was not 4. You wish it was 6 or 7 or 8, right? You don't want it to be 4. So because you are resisting reality, you are always in conflict inside of you, wanting something to be different than it actually is. And you bring this inner conflict into the world around you. So I'm sure you have noticed so many times around you, maybe your family, your parents, your friends, your boss, how neurotic they are because they're just so anxious, restless, right? That is the main characteristic of neurosis, is this chronic anxiety, chronic restlessness. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this thing. I don't like the way I feel. I want to be something else. I want to be somewhere else. I want to feel differently. So this constant inner conflicts, 24/7. It's just getting on people's nerves when people do that. Isn't it true? So, okay, those who just joined, Julie, Annie, I'm happy you're here, Julie. Just click like button, please, or love buttons, okay? So we can spread this message because it's very useful for people who are in a relationship or not in a relationship, or who are seeking man or want to be in a relationship or are married or want to be doing what I'm doing. A lot of you are already coaches, right? A lot of you are already having your own online or offline business. So all these things that I'm going to tell you is going to help you a great deal on how to tap into your genius zone, your full potential as a human being, how you can be your actual self and not feeling guilty, slightly guilty about it, right? How you can be, how you can self-actualize, because what else in the world that is more important than that, than self-actualization? Because when you are a self-actualized person, you are in alignment with your purpose, why you were born in here, or with your mission, or of the reason why you are in this world. Like, I have found the reason why I am in this world, and to be honest, it was by accident, right? But that is funny how life show you the way. Sometimes it's not always very direct. Sometimes it takes a lot of twist and turn to get to the place where you want to be, and you didn't even think at first that that was the place you wanted to be or you were going to be, right? That's the beauty of life. So if you just understand how life unfolds, if you just, through understanding, you will be able to reduce so much of your neurosis in life. And because you're out of your neurosis zone, you'll be more at peace with yourself. And only when you are at peace with yourself, you have this sort of this amazing reservoir of inner knowing, of energy to create a beautiful life that you always dream to have, to be the person you always dream to be. Right now, as you know, I have the freedom that I always dreamt about. I have a lifestyle that probably most people can only covet. You know, I can travel wherever in the world in a heartbeat without much planning, and then still making money wherever I am in the world. And I can choose the type of people that I want to work with. You know, most of my clients are great people because that is the frequency I attract. And I don't deal with difficult people. As I said, go back to being easy and at peace. If it's not easy for me, if it doesn't make me at peace with myself, then that is not for me. So I don't have an ambition the way most people define ambitions. You know, my ambition is so grounded to reality, right? So if it's too difficult, then it's not the path for me. So I want you to remember this point, because a lot of you have like so much drive to succeed, but at the same time, you not balancing it with reality, with how things are. And because of that, a lot of you get burnt out easily. This is what I don't have in life, burnt out. I don't get burnt out. And there is a reason for that, because I'm always in the state of flow. The state of flow is that genius zone, okay? And I mentioned in the previous video, I pretty much have reduced my neuroses to curtail it like all together. Maybe now I have about 2% of neuroses, right? I still snap at either Joey or people around me, or sometimes even my father. But I move on quickly too from that situation. So I don't get so traumatized by the emotional reactions that arise within me, that, you know, that create so much inner conflict, because I'm beating myself up, because I'm not accepting myself. The truth is, I just accept myself. I'm not perfect, but I'm okay in my imperfection. I'm perfect in my imperfection. So there are times when I just want to lash out. Well, I have to lash out, because if I keep it inside, if I bottle it up, it will explode, you know, in one way or another, or go underground. That's what non-neurotic people do. You know, they are very balanced. Most of the time, they are very easy to be with. They're very stable. But when there are times that, you know, their neurosis sort of like creeps up, and then they have to react on those things. They do it anyway. It doesn't mean that they become like vegetables, like never get angry, never get irritated. No, we still get angry sometimes. Very rare though, I must say. You know, we still get irritated. Yeah, because people are stupid sometimes, right? You get annoyed. So, but you accept yourself moment to moment. So when you are angry at the moment, when you are annoyed at the moment, you let it go very quickly. Why is that? Because you accept yourself. You like yourself. You know that you are a very reasonable person. So you allow yourself to be whatever it is moment to moment, right? I'm a very nice, very sweet person, like 98% of the time. So I can use that 2% of the time to be anything I need to be in the moment, right? If I need to be bitchy in the moment, then I have to be bitchy. And I'm okay with that. So that kind of self-acceptance is rare. But you need to be in that place to tap into your genius zone. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, genius zone is the state of flow. It's the state of non-conflict. It's the state of being out of your mind and connecting to your deepest core or to your heart. Okay, so in the state of flow, you don't expend so much energy, because a lot of energy that you spend is not actually you spend on productive things. A lot of energy that you spend is actually you spend it on stuff that creates so much entanglement in you, like worrying, anxiety, regretting, right? Isn't it true? That is what neuroses are. So ask yourself, how many hours a day do you spend on worrying and on dwelling on things you cannot control, on regretting that you don't have any control over something or anything. Now, time that many hours a day to 7 and time it to a year. Let's have a calculation here. Say, if you are worrying every day like 5 hours a day, right? 5 hours, that is very common among people, maybe more. A lot of people probably spend like half or more of their time worrying instead of being or doing something really productive to their life. So 5 hours times 7. That's 35 hours a week. 35 hours. Now, how many hours is that in a year? That is like 1,825 hours a year you spend on worrying. Now, divide it into 24 hours. That makes 76 days. That is like over 2 months of your waking life you spend worrying in a year. Now, if those 2 months you channel into something productive, right, building your life, building your business, imagine what kind of results you're gonna get in your life. So if you are stuck in your right now, look into that very thing. Look into how much you spend every day in your neuroses zone. And the problem with spending that much time in your neuroses zone is there is also an after effect of that. So you're not only getting depressed in the time you are worrying, but most people don't understand how the mind works, right? So they carry that trace of trauma or trace of just discomfort into the next day, into the next week, the next year, and the accumulation of those like discomforts or traumas, you can only imagine the amount of it. So that is what trauma is. When you leave stuff, you leave a trace in your consciousness because something that really bothers you. It just doesn't stop right there when it bothers you. You're gonna revisit it again the next week, or even the next day, and the next week, and the next month, right? Because people do not empty their consciousness moment to moment. They don't know how. They don't even understand what it means to empty the content of their consciousness. That's why what I teach to you extends far beyond relationship advice, far beyond relationship advice. It's not always about men. It's about living life the easiest way. But you need to know the secret, why my life is easy and yours is not. And it's not because I'm more blessed than you are, or necessarily because I'm more intelligent than you are. But definitely you'll be more intelligent when you practice what I teach, okay? Because when you're so deeply buried in the layers of thoughts and your conditioning and your neuroses, your intelligence is not being stimulated, obviously, because you're too busy getting bogged down by all this nonsense that doesn't actually exist. But most people are unconscious. As I've always said, maybe about 5% of the world population or less that is conscious. And people who are aware 24/7 or all the time, people who have penetrated the illusion of the self or the mind is even way lower, maybe 0.01%. So less than 1% of the world populations are totally awake. So we can only imagine the predicament of our humanity. It's pretty sad because vast majority of people are just fast asleep and they don't even know they are asleep. Okay, and if you don't understand what I'm saying, because you might be questioning, what do you mean I'm fast asleep? I'm awake and I am aware that you're talking to me. That is the sign that you're not conscious. So long you're still being led by the mind and all its sickness and obsession and attachment, you are deeply, deeply, deeply unconscious. That's all. Even though you think you're conscious, but you really are not. That's why you are always so vulnerable to mental beating. You're so vulnerable to regrets, to anxiety, to unhappiness, to grievances, to neuroses. You are vulnerable to suffering. Because when you understand the nature of the mind, you can no longer suffer. You still suffer physically, of course, but because there is no resistance in you, you are one and surrendering to what is, whatever that is. If this is something that is beyond your control, you just surrender to the fact that you cannot control it. So you stop the fight within yourself. And because you stop the fight within yourself, you can no longer suffer. It's very simple, right? But it is not for most people because they cannot see it. Because they're still duped by the mind. The mind is the strongest drugs known to mankind. Not heroin, not nothing, but it's the mind. Okay? So, back to, in the state of flow, the mind is not leading. The mind will be, will come whenever it's needed. So the mind is on call to solve problems, but you'll be the master of the mind. In the state of flow, everything just comes naturally. That's how excellence is generated, because it's not being forced. So you know intuitively that you need to do this, you need to do that to get to that point. And you don't spend any minute worrying about different scenarios. You are at one and so laser focused with task in hand. So through that laser focus on the task at hand, you are able to leverage time. You have much more time than average people. Number one, because average people spend inordinate amount of time worrying, right? And dwelling on things they cannot control, right? They have the wrong focus. And then because of that, they get depressed and they get distressed. And then more time is being wasted, right? Now, people who are out of their neurosis zone and in their genius zone have all this healthy energy intact to do whatever they need to do to improve their lives, to produce the most results with their business. Okay, and because of that, they are at the top of 3% of geniuses in the world. Okay, because they're able to buy time, they're able to create more time by not worrying. So that is what the state of flow is. That is the genius zone. Okay, and it is easy. So they accomplish a lot springs from a state of being. That's the beauty of it. Okay, so unless you get to that zone, you will always be in the state of being hampered for your progress. So if you are in the business or online or offline, it's really not about the how-to. It's whether or not you are connected to your genius zone. Okay, when you're in your genius zone, you will only do the things that you know you're good at. You don't keep up with the Jonases. You don't follow the crowd. Everyone has their own genius zone. My genius zone is relationship coaching, right? I'm the genius in this department. I'm on top of the world. I'm not being arrogant when I say that, but it's fact. Oh, before I move on, I forgot to mention that last week, and I already said that every time I went away, I'll go away and I'll come back with great news, right? And last week we had 4 ladies got engaged. One of them got their engagement reinstated. So in other words, their engagement saved. So 4 ladies got engaged just last week. So we had total 141 engagements in the last almost 4 years now, 3.5 years. So congratulations to the ladies. So that's why I say, I'm in my genius zone, right? I'm on the top of the niche, top of the industry because of the results, because this is who I am. Now, if I have to do coaching in nutrition or dieting, for example, just because I think it is so cool, I want to do it, I want to do what other people do because they seem successful, then I'll be in the blah zone. You know what I'm saying? I can be good in everything. So you need to know what you're good at. And what you're good at really is beyond the mind. You cannot access it through the mind, ladies and gentlemen. So stop trying to approach it from the mind. Okay, so oftentimes what you're good at, your genius zone, is already so apparent right here, right now, but you just doubting yourself. So you have no clue that you're good at it, and instead you start seeking for other things, right? Because your friend says, "Hey, why don't you do this?" A lot of people make money because of that. This is the state of reality of the business world. When something proves to be successful, there will be thousands of copycats, come into the market trying to do the exact same things. And of course, according to statistic, that the failure rate of all American companies after 5 years was over 50% and over 70% after 10 years. And you understand why? Because people tend to just be followers. They're not in touch with their deepest core of who they are. They're not self-actualized. They're not being their actual self. Okay? So, and out of that statistic, only 3% is at the top of the industry. On every industry, there are the geniuses, the leading edge or the leaders of the industry, and they have something that 90% don't have. They have je ne sais quoi. Je ne sais quoi is a French word which means I don't know what. So it actually means it's an undefined quality or characteristic that is unique to from person to person. Okay, so my je ne sais quoi in this relationship niche is I'm an expert on difficult relationships and non-committal men. Isn't it true? Most of you who come to me are because they have those issues. They don't know what to deal with their man or their relationships because it becomes so difficult because they themselves are not out of their neurosis zone. And a lot of their neuroses push away their partners or their men. That's why they are non-committal. So that is my je ne sais quoi. That seems to me that nobody else in the business has that. So find your je ne sais quoi. It's not gonna be the same from person to person. Okay, so that is your unique gift. If you just follow people around because you think it's hip, because you think because it's fashionable, it's not gonna work for you. As the statistics already reveals, that most business will fail 50% of it just by the 5th year of the business age. So don't be that statistic. And I do understand, as I said, a lot of times, unless we try, we really don't know. So that is fine. You only learn from failures, right? Through failures, you become wiser. So you know not what to do. Okay? So find your je ne sais quoi. And everyone has that. Okay? And then it's not through the mind. It's through the heart. So it will help so much better when actually the mind is quiet. So to tap into your genius zone, needless to say, you need meditation. One of those very old tools that have been proven to really work. Either physically, health-wise, and mentally. So why is meditation so important? Because meditation is basically just being in tune of who we are at our deepest core. And to be who we are at our deepest core, we need to be aware how the mind works. Because then only when you are aware how the mind works, you can distinguish it with the state of non-thinking or the state of being. In the state of being, all thinkings become deliberate. They are just like your soldiers, ready for you to summon whenever you need, to fight for you, or you need their assistance to solve problems. Right now, most of you are non-deliberate thinkers. You just think anyway, whether or not it's necessary. And the problem is not just that, because I still think anyway, even when it's not necessary. The difference is you are lost in those thoughts because you believe in everything your mind says, right? If your mind says to worry about the past now, something you did wrong in the past, you're just gonna be worrying sick. There is no mechanism in you to wake you up. Look, that is an illusion. It's not real. That is what happened 3 weeks ago or 10 years ago. It's not now. Stop it. You understand? Now, someone who is awake, they still have that sort of reflex thinking, because the brain is really not you. The brain is just a 2 million years age of a gadget. So it's based on our collective evolution as a mankind, as humanity. So your brain is not you. Your brain is the product of evolution. So the way the brain does is that what it's doing right here, right now. It's just churning thoughts, useless thoughts. And if you're not aware, you'll be lost in those thoughts, thinking that those thoughts are real, thinking that those thoughts are you. That is what I mean by being unconscious, by being unawake, by being lost in the dreams. So be a person who is awake in the dreams. You still have that brain function that is churning useless thoughts from time to time, but you are detached from those thoughts. You know it's not you. It has nothing to do with you. So instead of getting lost, you become just a detached observer of every phenomenon outside of you and inside of you. That is the very definition of an awake person, a conscious person, which is unfortunately only counts way below 1% of the world population right now. Okay, so that's why I always emphasize this message over and over and over, because it's worth repeating, because you need to be reminded. So basically, meditation kind of put you in the position to deal with the craziness of your own mind, right? To be in touch with the chaos of your mind. Okay, so only when you know the chaos of your mind, then you will know also what happens when there is a gap between those chaotic sessions, when your mind is running rampage, thinking about stupidest things in the world. When the mind is silent, you will notice, wow, it feels so much different. You see? So through that process, over and over, sometimes I understand, sometimes it takes years or decades, to really get the grasp of the mind works. That is how persistent this hallucination is. So don't beat yourself up if you don't belong to that 1% or even the 5% of the world population, because it is not your fault. It is the fault of our evolution. Okay. So meditation is basically the absence of comparison. What do I mean by that? If you are aware, your mind will always compare. Like, for example, right now I'm sitting here by the beach, right? And it's pretty humid. And I would compare it today with yesterday when the weather is not that humid. And through that comparison, I begin to grieve inside of me. I suffer thanks to that. Oh, how I wish that, today is like yesterday when it's so breezy, it's so nice, and I was happy. So check that with yourself. Aren't you always comparing wherever you are moment to moment? Then that comparison brings so much sorrow, because comparison involves time, and time brings sorrow. Time brings neurosis. Sorrow and neurosis only exist in time or in psychological time. But if you're so immersed in the reality of the moment, you're surrendering to whatever it is moment to moment, you are free. That is what freedom is. It's not about having so much money, being so famous. It has nothing to do with that. You know how many people who are so famous, so rich, they are not free, right? They are depressed. They have suicidal thoughts. They are under medications for depressions and anxiety. That is not freedom. So being free has nothing to do with externalities. Being free has everything to do with the capacity to be one with whatever that is, to be surrendering to the moment, to be able to live not in psychological time, but more like animals. Animals don't live in psychological time. They have no concept about the past or the future. They're just happy in the moment. So if you can be like that, like animals, and also at the same time have the brain power of a human being, then you're good, you're set, you are in your genius zone. Okay, so when you are able to just be and be free of these habits of comparison, then that is what liberation is all about. Really, it's very simple. It's not some over the top, woo-woo, mystical conception. You know, enlightenment is the absolute cooperation with the inevitability. You understand what it means? The absolute cooperation with the inevitability, which means you're not resisting anything. Right now it's humid. There's nothing you can do. So you enjoy your humidity. If you cannot enjoy it, then you go somewhere else. You don't beat yourself up wanting things to be different. Because yesterday it was breezy. So today it has to be breezy as well. That is neurotic, right? So whatever your situation is, you can adapt that absolute cooperation with the inevitability. Of course, if you can have things different ways, you may try. I understand that. I do that too. But when you are already like facing the wall, you understand there is nothing else you can do. You're okay with that too. You're surrendering to that not being able to change anything. Okay, all suffering stem from inner conflict. It's not from necessarily from externalities. That is the inner conflict that causes the tension, the friction within yourself, the discomfort within yourself. So that is what neuroses are. Back to neuroses. Okay, so try to meditate. Like this morning, for example, you know, I was kind of like waking up, but not really wanting to wake up yet, you know, because I'm just enjoying being drowsy. That is the perfect time to really watch the mind, to really be one with what is. So I let my mind roam. Basically, the mind will hop, the monkey mind will hop, you know, from one thought to the next, to the next, to the next. So I just let them happen. You know, there was planning in my mind. There was, you know, like scripting what I needed to say about today. But I'm just watching it as it happens, not resisting it, not agreeing, nor disagreeing. You are in that position of just to be a detached observer of all these inner phenomena. There is no comparison. Just let it roam. It is also, in a way, is to detox. Okay? So when you just detoxing, you just surrender to the craziness of your mind, in a way. Not trying to direct it into certain thing. So, in other words, you are just daydreaming. But you also, at the same time, are aware not to get lost in the content of your daydreaming. You can do that. A lot of times you can do that. When you're going to bed, you know, wanting to fall asleep, for example, you can do that. When you're waking up, when you're beginning to get out of that state of, you know, sleep or drowsiness, you can do it as well. Or when you're waiting in a doctor office, for example, or waiting for a bus, for a train, for a flight, you can do that. You don't always have to sort of like create a spatial room with an altar, with a Buddha statue or Jesus or Mary. So you can sort of like do it in front of them. No, meditation, you can do it anytime, any day. Even when you're doing like boring tasks, like cleaning your closet or doing the dishes, that is the best time to meditate. So you look into your own mind, what is it doing at the moment? And you'll be amazed how much that you will learn about this thing called the mind. It's amazing. Okay. Sooner or later, I know, vast majority of people don't even like, don't even manage to have this capacity in this lifetime. Yeah, but that is okay. So as I said, hopefully one day it becomes just automatic for you. So whatever is going through your mind, you just going to take a step or two backs, a step or two back from the thoughts. So instead of getting lost in the content of the thought or the stories, you just watch them as if you're watching animals like exotic birds, right? It is what you do, right? When you watch exotic birds, what do you do when you watch animals? You don't have any preconception what it's gonna be like. You don't have any expectation, right? But a lot of us, sadly, live lives with expectations, meaning being led by the mind, because the mind is always ahead of us. That is what causes you to do all these things that you're not supposed to do, right? Like, for example, like calling up your EUM or texting them like, 2,000 texts a day, because the mind is ahead of you. All the drives to do unwholesome things come from the mind. All the anxiety is because the mind is not sitting with you right here, right now. It's ahead of you. So when you understand how the mind works, you no longer follow the dictate of the mind. You always question the validity of every assertion that the mind makes. You don't obsessively question necessarily, but at the end of the day, you always know deep in your heart that who knows what the truth is. These days, even though I have strong opinions about something, at the end of the day, I always know that I might be wrong too. At the end of the day, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of what I think or what I believe, and what the opposite of what the people of what the beliefs say. Okay, so instead of getting so opinionated, trying to defend your opinions, you just relax, surrender to the fact that you might be wrong, and then that is okay when you're wrong. Nobody is right all the time, and quite the same way, nobody is wrong all the time. So, but it is, if you are so identified with the identity of being the self that is always right and is never wrong, you're gonna fight all the time. That's what stubborn people do. I've been that person too. Just debate, discuss over and over, trying to convince the other that we are right. But bottom line is, it's not that we are trying to convince the others we are right. We are actually trying to convince ourselves we are right, because we cannot stand being wrong. Isn't it true? So if you know that the reasons why the mind does what it does, then that's one step already, one major leap toward freedom. It's people who accept themselves, who approve themselves, who like themselves. They don't have to prove to themselves that they are right. Isn't it wonderful when you realize that? When you like yourself, when you approve yourself, when you accept yourself, you won't react when people call you stupid, you're a fraud, you're a liar. In fact, somebody just said that I was a liar like the other day. I didn't say anything, I just shrugged it off. Because I know it's not about me, it's about them. If you don't agree with what I say and think I'm a liar, it's because you haven't seen what I see. Then instead of getting angry at you, I just accept that that's where you are. You are at the stage of not being able to understand what I'm saying. There's nothing else I can do. But the main thing is because I approve myself and I accept myself, I know who I am. There is no desire in me to debate that person, that he is wrong and I'm right. It's just a waste of time. And then that is what Neuroses Zone is. That is what putting your focus onto wrong things, right? So focus on things that you know that will lead toward the betterment of your life. If you are in the business, focus on the things you can do to improve results. Focus on improving your content, for example. Instead of worrying what other people do, what other people think about me. That is the wrong focus, right? And the same, when you are in a relationship, if you put the focus on the wrong things, then you will sabotage your relationship. If you focus on why he hasn't called you, on why he doesn't respond to texts like within minutes, why he hasn't taken you to meet his parents, why, if you focus on the wrong things. And of course, you're going to be angry. And you're going to be anxious. You're going to be restless. And then you bring that restlessness into your relationship. And you start bringing the talk, start nagging, start telling him what he doesn't do right. And then you wonder why he pulls away or dumps you. That is why, because you're neurotic. You're not easy to be with. You are high maintenance. That is what high maintenance means. You need validation to feel good about yourself. And nobody else can give you that. Nobody else. Okay? So unless you work on your neuroses, your relationship will always be difficult, no matter how wonderful your man is. So focus on the right things. The right focus is so mighty important, both in relationship and in business, or in life in general. Focus on what is under your control. See the glass half full. And whenever you are in that grip of that neurosis sort of bubbling up into the surface, be aware of it and catch it. That's why you need to meditate. You need to be aware with every movement in your mental space. So whenever something ugly begins to come up, you are able to sort of nip it in the bud. So instead of getting lost in that content of how much an asshole your boyfriend is because he hasn't made your relationship Facebook official, grab hold of that thought. When you already grab hold of that thought, you stop yourself dead on the track. So you don't continue on that line of thought, that neurotic thought. So you release it, let it go. So you don't even have to discuss in your head why you are right or wrong in your assessment. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A lot of you spend so much energy dwelling in your mind whether I'm right or wrong. And because of that, you spend inordinate amount of time worrying instead of being productive. The next thing you know, you are 3 weeks into worrying why you are right and your boyfriend is wrong. Well, you can use those 3 weeks, for example, to do something very beneficial to yourself and to other people's lives. You see what I'm saying here now? Okay, so connect to the eye of the storm, which is inside here. Find the stillness within. I like what my accountant says about me. What makes you different, Kat? She says. There is this sort of like zen or stillness about you that other coaches don't have. And you teach these things to a lot of women as well, this to find that stillness. And she's so right. She's very intuitive. She's so right about it. If you manage to find the stillness within and dwell in it more often than not, then you are already halfway in your genius zone. So if you can maintain that stillness within throughout the day, then you are in the state of flow, where genius abounds because resistance doesn't exist. Through that stillness within, you can summon your brain power to give you ideas and solutions to your problems. Okay, so make it a habit every day to spend probably 15 to half an hour to just find the stillness within and dwell in it. Experience that. Experience, you can create this experience. At first, yeah, it is hard, I understand that, until it becomes automatic. Right now with me, it's automatic. I don't have to exert myself to be in my stillness within. It emanates from every cell of my being. That's why I like being alone. I think the best company is my own self. I have the greatest relationship with myself. Okay? Because I can just dwell in that eye of the storm and while looking around me and just take note what's happening around me. That's why I never get a burnout, and I accomplish so much. And I have tens of thousands of clients, including the former clients. And I can manage it without any help, pretty much. I do all by myself. It's not because I'm a superwoman, because right now I find it easier just to do it all by myself, because to me, training people and supervising them is more difficult than doing things by myself. You might be different. Everyone is different. So you don't have to be, following exactly what I'm doing. But as I said, find what is easy and what is peaceful to you, because that is the key to your genius zone. Easy, or ease and peace. If I have to work, I have assistants in a way that I hire subcontractors to do my website, and certain tasks on my website, I delegate, right? But a lot of times I still have to supervise, to tell them what is not perfect, to do it differently. So in the end, I spend just about equal time telling them what to do than doing it myself. So that's why. And the reason I can do that, because I don't spend any time at all worrying about anything. I'm always in my genius zone, 24/7. That healthy energy I just could spend on building. Not worrying, not regretting, not being anxious about anything. Okay, ladies, let's see what kind of questions do you have here. Oh. Okay, ask your questions. Trying to find the questions here, ladies. Hold on. Trying to scroll up, ladies. This is take some time. Okay, let's start. This is from Brenda. How can I work with you uh, to take cat hang worldwide? What do you mean, Brenda? You mean how you can work with me in what? Relationship or what? PM me, okay? This is from Connie. So if a guy is sensitive and expresses his emotions, does that make him more likely a better type? And he mentions getting a place together with me and the kids, and normally spend all day together. So any idea if this means he wants to try us out? Yeah, if he's a sensitive type, I mean, most women want a sensitive type, right? So why don't you just enjoy it? And so if he mentioned getting a place together, see what he does about it, not what he says. Stop relying on a guy's words, okay? Because guys, oh, sorry. Because guys will say the darndest things. They're they're very in the moment. So right now they say, "Oh, I'm thinking of, you know, of living together with you, or we should have this name for our baby." You know, they're just being in the moment. Don't take it too hard like that. A lot of you do, and then you go crazy because you live with the mind, expectations. Okay, and then all of a sudden you feeling like you're being cheated, or you're losing something that you never had to begin with. Okay, any other question, ladies? Please write it on the comment section. I'm trying to get to the uh, hold on a little bit, ladies. Trying to locate the questions that have been asked. Here from Isabella. Well, I guess my question would be what to do when I've applied everything you have taught and successfully reeled in a guy. He does everything a boyfriend does, although he still talks like an EUM and tells me to get a boyfriend and that he only sees me casually and that he does not see a future with me. I accept it, but he still keeps chasing me. What is the next step from there? Isabella, that is pretty much the basis of my ebook. So read it again. As I said, you know, a guy communicates mostly through his actions. If you brought the talk with a guy, you put him on a corner, and it's very repelling, right? It's annoying when you bring up the talk. Oh, what are we? Why? You know, are you going to? Are we a couple? Are we going to get married? Are you gonna take me to meet your parents? Any talk at all involving relationship, unless he brings it up first, will make him feel like a failure. So if you have done it, and now he's pulling away, but his actions still not really letting you go, so rely on the action. Stop talking about it. Just respond to his initiation and take it from there. And don't forget to always hedge your bet, meaning you have to see other guys until he confirms it with both actions and words that he's fully committed. Okay? So that's all you need to do. Wash, rinse, repeat. All right. So any other question, ladies? All right. Hold on a second. This is from Ellie. I meditate on this, I knew it was coming. Like when I ended up in your group mysteriously, I was open to the universe thinking it was a gift. I knew then it was only a matter of time before it actually happens that way. Thank you, Ellie. I'm blessed to have met you as well. Thank you for being part of the group and the movement. All right. This is from Luisa. Number one, every woman is special in her own ways, but how to be that one woman who stands out to him and his heart like nobody else? Number two, I often feel uncomfortable with loneliness and sitting by myself. How do I start to love being by myself and embrace solitude for once? Number one, okay, let's see. How to be the woman who stands out from the rest? Then you have to be the cat woman. The cat woman is so grounded. The cat woman is free of neuroses most of the time. The cat woman accepts themselves. You know, they don't beat themselves up when they are in the moment. They are, you know, probably showing the dark side of themselves. They accept it and move on. Okay, and then just open a new chapter, moment to moment. That is the one woman who stands up from the rest. Okay, that groundedness, that wisdom. Okay, that is why what I teach works so marvelously well. There is no doubt. It's the best teachings in the world about it. Number two, I often feel uncomfortable with loneliness and sitting by myself. How do I start to love being by myself? Again, you're feeling uncomfortable because the mind starts comparing, right? So when you are being alone, the mind starts giving you running commentary. Oh, this is what loneliness is. I'm feeling very lonely. Last week, I had my family with me, and we were having such a great time. And right now, I don't have my family with me, and this is what loneliness is. I don't like loneliness. I don't like being alone. Isn't it true? So you telling yourself you don't like being alone, and you believe it. That is what being unconscious is all about. So next time when you are alone and your mind start giving you running commentary why being alone is bad, nip it in the bud. Stop it there. Let it go. Let the mind go. And just go back to the state of being again when you are out of your mind, out of time or psychological time, and just be immersed in the eternal now. When you are surrendering to the eternal now, there is no question in your mind that, oh, I don't feel good. There's no reason for that. The sky isn't falling, right? And you are not in a harm way. So what is that not to like? So the key is to be always in touch with your deepest core, with the state of flow, with your genius zone, the very subject that we are talking about right now. Stop comparing and be aware of those comparing habits. Let's see other questions. This is from Elida. You are an amazing woman, Kat, and your teachings really works. Oh, thank you, Elida. I'm very honored that you say that. If there is no more question, ladies, I think that's it from me for today. This one here from Kang. My man cheated on me while he was on vacation. He said, it just happened. Should I just move on? So depends. How long have you been together? There is a dilemma here about monogamy. I think our expectations are often like over the top regarding this no sex with anyone else, but with one person for the rest of our lives. Okay, just take this off. I mean, it does sound good on paper, but monogamy is not actually, uh, it's not really a human characteristic, right? It's a social construct. So the question is, would you be able to sort of like understand this from that point of view, to accept that, human beings are flawed, and oftentimes they're not able to sort of resist the temptation. And doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. And a lot of guys who actually have extramarital sex or whatnot, they do love and are devoted to their family. It's just that the expectations of monogamy is very unrealistic. So maybe you will think that I'm so like fake regarding this, but it pretty much boils down to where you are emotionally in the moment. Either way, you are not wrong. If you don't feel that you're not able to accept it and you want to move on, then you can do that. But if you can find it in your heart to forgive his human failings, his human flaw, and continue in the relationship, that is not wrong either. Okay, but probably there should be a mechanism within the relationship how to deal with this dreary monogamy. Okay, so discuss it with him, because if you've been together, for example, like some people have been together for 30, 40, 50 years, and to expect that a man or even a woman, not attracted to anyone else, not somehow getting tempted, to act on that attraction is pretty much a tall order. I'm just saying it realistically, as from one human being to another, because I see myself not always perfect like that either. Okay, so discuss it. And as I said, there is no clear-cut answer to it. There is no black and white regarding monogamy. A lot of couples, in fact, just embrace the fact that, monogamy sucks. So they play together. If it works for their relationship, then it works for them. It's good for them. Okay, Kong? So just accept where you are moment to moment. Right now, you're feeling hurt. Of course, you're feeling hurt. The funny thing is, I dreamt the other day that Joey cheated on me. Oh my God, and I was so outraged. Now I understand why a woman wakes up from a dream that their guy cheats and lash out on their guy, because I had the same feeling to want to do it. So in the dream, I punch him in the face many times. It just gives me, a revelation of what I'm still carrying inside here. I still have that rage inside of me. I thought, I'm done with that. No, but I was waking up feeling really upset and angry. And the feelings were real. That's the problem. So understand, when a woman, this is for gentlemen. So because there is a joke, she just punches me in the face because she just woke up from the dream that I was cheating on her. Don't blame us for that, because the anger was real. This is what I wanted to do too, So accept that, you are still angry about it and you cannot move on. And just pull away from the situation, remove yourself from the situation, have a break. It's okay to have a break, so you can process your feelings. In a week or so, then you will begin to really see what your feelings really mean, because probably in a week or so, your mind clears a little bit, right? And then you could see that, what he does probably not that terribly wrong. It was just a one-time incident because he was on vacation, and then there was this horny woman sort of throwing herself on him. Would a dog be able to say no to a piece of meat? Maybe not, right? So If you understand and accept and embrace his human nature, the way you embrace your own human nature, then you'll be more at peace with yourself. Then you will be in a better position to decide if you want to continue with this or not. Because if the rest of your relationship actually has been great, you know, you shouldn't just throw out a healthy relationship over this one mishap. That is food for thought, and then it's up to you to decide. It's not my place to tell you what to do. Because at the end of the day, you always have to be honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself, meaning you are just in touch with your feelings right at this second. You don't know what next week will be like, or next year will be like. So just take it one day at a time and be gentle with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself, with the way you feel. Okay? Get out of your neuroses zone. Not telling you that he's not supposed to do what he did, or not telling yourself either that you're not supposed to feel how you feel. It is what it is. I can't accept it right now because I'm still angry, but I don't know about tomorrow. I don't know about next week or next month. So let it unfold organically. That is the wisest thing to do. Okay? Or you can punch him in the face too if you like. All right. This is from Ayan. Were you in a 9-to-5 career before transitioning to your current path? If so, how did you do so without any resistance? Oh yeah, I was trying to be an executive woman back home here in Indonesia, but not in Bali, right? I was an HR manager for a few years, but I noticed with myself that I began to lose focus after a few years in the job. You just lost focus because it's so dreary, it's so boring, it's so tedious. It's just the same admin work. That doesn't challenge me. And I began to lose focus. That was what happened with my last job, with a shipping company, in fact. So I got fired because, to be honest, I was just losing interest. You know, all this the same dreary job is just not me. So the fact that I was fired was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. That is the time when I decided, look, I don't want to live here anyway. So this is the time for me just to leave and find a better suited environment, better suited society that match my liberal values, right? At that time, you know, I was probably too liberal for the traditional Indonesia. So I had American visa. So I just packed my bag, you know, and then came to the United States just to enjoy life, basically, not to even try to find work. You know, I'm not a working kind of person, really. I need to do something that is my hobby. Now I know that, but at that time I did not. I thought I would be just following the crowd, you know, be an executive 9-to-5, carrying this suitcase wherever I go and feeling so good about myself because I'm one of those people, you know what I'm saying? So I came to the United States, you know, I would just basically live on nothing. You know, I would share a room with 5-6 other people, for example, waiting tables every now and then. But I was happy because I was free. I got to do whatever I wanted to do. You see, happiness has nothing to do with money or fame. Happiness is a state of being, state of mind, is a state of freedom. That's what happiness is. When you are free, you cannot be not happy. Okay, and you don't have to have a lot of money to be free. It's a state of mind. So I was waiting tables and sharing a room with 5-6 people and had so much drama in the boarding room because a lot of people are crazy. A lot of these women are neurotic, right? They're gossip, they're malicious. Just like what you experience day to day. So, you know, but I was always happy. I might clean other people's house in the sort of, in a crazy, very cold winter in New York. I had to drag myself from Queens to Brooklyn in the below zero. I think it was like, close to 0 degree Fahrenheit, and it was so damn cold. But I enjoyed myself anyway because I'm free. That's all I need in life. Freedom in life, freedom. So how did I do it? Just because I know this is my time to enjoy life. This is I so I just let everything go, basically just be one with what is. Let the universe sort of steer me where from now on without any resistance in me. It comes naturally with me. I don't know why, it just does. Just the way I am. I love life. So I enjoy it in any way possible. So, and then how I become this amazing coach to begin with, it wasn't planned either. My relationship broke down, my marriage broke down, and I was looking for an answer. I was trying to get him back. So I was looking for the get X back material on the internet, the way you do when you found me, the way you did when you found me, right? So, and then I begin to immerse with the one get X book to the next, but they are all mostly shitty, right? So I get nothing from them. So I told myself I could do better than this shit. So that's really. And 5 years later, I woke up in my beautiful home, just like that. It happens just like that, unplanned, totally unplanned. So do not approach these things with the mind. Just let the world, let the universe take you wherever it takes you. Okay? Be in the state of total surrender. Be in the state of outside your neuroses zone. The state of being in conflict with where you are and where you want to be. Okay? All right, ladies. If there is no more question, I think that should be good for now. And I'm probably going to take my parents to Japan, to Tokyo, by the end of the month. So I will try to broadcast from there. And then my parents will come with me to California. Yay! Always happy to have them. I want to enjoy them as much as I can because they're in their 70s right now, right? Or about to get to her 70-year-old for my mom. So the time I spend with my parents is just precious because, I just want to spoil them as long as I can, as long as they still healthy and able to travel. Because my dad especially loves to travel, and then it was his dream, and it is now coming true thanks to what I do with you guys. And so thank you for all the supports you've been giving me, and I love every one of you and appreciate you. So wait for the next announcement for the live class from Tokyo. All right? Bye-bye, everyone. I'm going to swim now.